Good morning and welcome back to Dustinbed. Today I'm going to be talking about a bundle of horror movies that I've watched so far in October. If you haven't watched my update video, then this is going to be a little bit of a series. I'm going to do it every Saturday until like Halloween Day and just sort of talk about what horror movies I've been watching. Off camera here, I've got a stack of movies, but I'm going to start off with one that I don't actually own physically, and then we'll kind of go in order of what I've seen. So the first movie well, not the first one, but the digital one was The Invisible Man, and I have good things and bad things to say about it. For me, it was a bit mixed. I liked it, and I liked what it was going for, but I guess it just didn't hit the right spot for me. So it deals in a very serious topic, which is like the abuse that can be found in a relationship, which, I mean, that's a tough subject to sort of deal with, especially in a horror movie, because, I feel like I associate horror with more of the silly sides of horror, like monsters and stuff like that. So I guess this is a different type of monster that is all too real, unfortunately. And I feel like it deals with this subject really well. Sort of these ideas of after this relationship is over, as far as the protagonist knows, she's still haunted by him, which, it's literal and figurative. He's dead as far as she knows, but here he is coming back into her life, and she doesn't understand why he's there. Like, is it really him? These sorts of questions come into her mind. Her friend is a police officer, and he tells her basically, don't give him any more power, which is also kind of a mixed message. It's basically, it feels like it's undermining the sort of struggle of those in like a abusive relationship, I guess. I, I feel like you know what I mean, but yeah, so it deals with this topic in a really interesting way, but I don't know, in the terms of movie logic, I had a lot of problems with it. This is going to be spoilers from here on, I guess, for this movie, and then we'll get into the other ones. But yeah, so spoilers, I guess, is that I don't understand why people can't sense his presence, because he's really in there. Well, is he or is it his brother? Because at the end they reveal that it's the brother. I hope you skipped away if you haven't seen it, but yeah, because at the end when the little girl pepper sprays him or whatever, she senses him in her room, so she sprays. But wouldn't people sense him when they're going about their business? I feel like I can sense when people are around, even if I'm not looking at them. So that's where I guess I'm a little bit confused, or I mean, I guess that's one of the things you have to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it kind of, as it was going on, I thought about it more and more, and it made me like annoyed, I guess. There was that. And then one of the big turning points in the movie is when he kills her sister in the uh, fancy restaurant. He slits her throat and then puts the knife in her hand. And I feel like a restaurant that fancy would probably have cameras in there to be like keeping an eye on things. So wouldn't they kind of catch the weird, hey, there's a knife that just floats through and slits a throat and then it appears in her hand? Because, I mean, it doesn't look like she did it, but, the aftermath of her holding a bloody knife and her sister's throat slit, I mean, that's when it looks like she did it. But I just feel like, because they look at camera footage in the movie with her running away from something that isn't there, so that makes me wonder. It feels like there should have been video there. I mean, again, that's up for interpretation, and it's not necessarily something that, you know, it might not be a problem, like, might not have been an option. What am I trying to say? Might not have, I mean, there might not have been a camera in there, but I feel like there should have been, and that bothered me a little bit. And what else? At the end, there's two things at the end. So one thing is that his suit starts malfunctioning, and it always malfunctions in the most convenient way, so that way he's never seen when we need to see him, but he's always, we never see him when we need to see him, but we don't see him when we, you know what I mean? It's like the police officers or whoever they are inside of the facility, they they're like, they're looking at this lady like, hey, what's going on here? And he's, bleep blooping out of existence, but they can't see him when they should, and then he just pops right in and he starts beep booping them, punching them up and stuff. And it's like, well, why can't we see him when we need to see him, And my last grievance, I guess, is that when he's out in the rain, I feel like his suit should collect more rain than it did. Because I'm glad that they show that his suit did collect some rain, because when he like walks by, there's little droplets on him. But shouldn't there be more? I don't know. I feel like there should be more rain in his suit or something. There's just a lot of little, invisibility kind of nitpicky things that kind of bothered me. I mean, I don't know how they could have fixed it. I guess put more water on his suit, make his suit bleep bloop in and out a little bit more predictably. And I mean, you can't do anything about the sensing thing. That's just my little issue. And the throat slit, I guess they could just say that there wasn't a camera. And maybe they did say that, but I didn't catch it. So yeah, overall, what did I used Letterboxd now. I used to use IMDb, but now I use Letterboxd, and I gave it 3 stars out of 5, which I think is fair. I mean, it's a good movie, but I would never want to watch it again, just because the topic itself is a bit tough. I mean, I think it's important, and I think that people who have experienced these events in their lives might find some kind of catharsis in watching it, because she does make it out of it pretty good. But I don't know. For me, I just didn't hit the spot, I guess. So let's go ahead and start with the first movie that I saw this Halloween. And it was Dracula. Bleh. He doesn't say bleh, but we all say bleh. Yeah, I saw the original Dracula. I've seen it before, but I haven't actually seen this Blu-ray copy. And it was as good as ever. I mean, I don't really know what all I can say, because, I mean, what hasn't been said about Dracula, but Bela Lugosi is Dracula. Everything that we know about Dracula, almost everything, is directly because of Bela Lugosi in Dracula. I feel like we don't, as a, oh, come on, focus. You've been good to me so far. Everything that we know about Dracula not so far, everything that we know about Dracula in, like, pop culture is because of Bela Lugosi. And, the movie's really good. I really like it. It's really moody. One of the things that struck me this time was how spooky the silence is in the movie, because it's from 1931, and it's from a time when talkies were not commonplace, so they didn't really fill movies with music and stuff like they do now. So whenever there isn't dialogue, there isn't any sound, and it gets really kind of spooky, because we'll have Dracula going like, get over here, and that kind of stuff. Or like, I don't know what Dracula does. He summons you with his eyes. He's like, but it's dead quiet, and it's spooky. I like it. I think that it's fun. Another part of the movie that's really good is Dwight Fry as was it Renfield or whatever. He's got that laugh and that like demonic stare. Like he just looks like a loon, and he does a really really good job at it. But yeah, that's Dracula. Do I want to give my ratings for each of these? I gave this one a 3.5, so it's like a 7 out of 10. I mean, it probably deserves more, but I don't know. I I like it a lot, but I don't. It's not something I love. It's not something that I would rather watch Frankenstein if I'm honest, and I probably will for next week. Spoilers, but yeah, it was cool. I'd like to watch more of these from this collection because I've only seen Dracula. I haven't seen Dracula's Daughter or Son of Dracula or House of Frankenstein, which, why is House of Frankenstein on here? That should be on Frankenstein. That's a whole different thing about these Universal legacy collections, how they reuse movies. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Oh, yeah. So here's Shivers. I watched Shivers, and you know what? I didn't really care for it that much. It's David Cronenberg's first feature-length film, from my understanding, and you could kind of see where his style first came from, like this idea of mixing like the sexual and this body horror kind of stuff. It's definitely on display here, but I don't know. This movie's got a lot of like rapey stuff. It's really rapey because everybody is like a sex crazed zombie, and they're all like trying to like smash you to death or something. I don't know. It made me uncomfortable. Um, Also, the movie was like weirdly dry in my opinion. Like there, I don't know. That's subjective, of course, but I wanted some more pizzazz other than like the cool creature stuff. Um, Barbara Steele is in this. From Is that her name? It doesn't. It's not gonna tell me because that would be too easy. She's in. What is she in? Like Black Sabbath and a couple other movies, like those like Italian, like not giallo, but like those. I don't know. I should know more about this before I try to talk about it. But yeah, she's in it, and she's captivating. I like her in movies. I'd like to see more movies with her in them. But yeah, I feel like even her performance isn't super amazing in this, but she's nice to look at. So there's that. Let's go to the next one. Oh yeah, here we go. Psycho. I've never seen Psycho until this right here. Isn't that crazy? Like, I feel like Psycho is one of those horror movies that is like, it's like the cornerstone of modern horror, and it has escaped me up until this point. And I've had this collection for a little while, and I was like, you know what? I'll save it for October. And here we go. I did it. And you know what? It's really good. Oh wait, did I tell you I gave Shivers like a 5 out of 10, 2.5 stars. It was okay, but no, I'll never watch it again. I might sell it or something if I'm honest. But back to Psycho. Um, it is really good. There's not much to say. Like it's like Dracula. It's such a classic that it's hard to talk about. But you know what? I'm going to do something that probably most people haven't, and I'm not going to spoil what happens in this movie. Uh, I just recommend you watch it. I think the characters are really well written, and it doesn't drag. It's hard to. Okay. I love older movies, but I feel like you have to watch them in a certain context to be able to enjoy them properly in the modern age, just because we're so used to like a certain flow to a movie. And I feel like this one, for the most part, especially in the first half, has a more modern flow to it, and it's really satisfying to watch just because it's something that I'm not super used to in an older movie. But yeah, Anthony Perkins is Norman Bates, and he is really good. There's a scene with him and, oh, what's her name? She is she's what's her name? Now I can't remember names, but the main lady in the movie. uh, wow, I'm totally blanking. And this is not being a very good visual aid, other than telling me about. Oh, Janet Leigh. Thank you, movie. I'm saved from being a dingus. Janet Leigh, she's really good also, but like they're together in the scene where it's kind of just a dialogue where they're talking in this room of his that has a bunch of stuffed animals. Well, stuffed birds, to be specific, which is part of the movie. There's a thing with that. But yeah, it's really good. I love that scene. I thought that it really gave him a really, really good sort of, gave him some space to act, and it was great. But yeah, Psycho. Real good. Check it out. Check it out if you haven't. It's not too late. It's never too late. I unboxed this recently for the channel. This, The Last House on the Left. Oh, by the way, I gave that like 4 stars, so 8 out of 10. Last House on the Left. This movie is interesting. What do I want to say? So Wes Craven, it's his debut, so we got 2 debuts here, which is pretty fun. But this movie, what do I want to say? It's got a weird tone that is super interesting. It is very nasty and doesn't shy away from being nasty. But it's also got this weird, like, kind of jovial kind of quality to it. And it's like the music, which was done by David Hess, who is like the main bad guy in the movie. He does these like really lovely songs, and sometimes the lovely songs are over like the worst stuff in the movie. And it's just like, wow, like there's sexual assault in this movie. It sucks. I don't like that. It's not cool. But it's done in a way that doesn't romanticize it or something. It doesn't romanticize it. It doesn't make it anything other than nasty, which it should be. And I think I talked about this in my unboxing, so go check it out if you want some better details. But it's based off of Ingmar Bergman's The Virgin Spring. Very similar plot. I think it's basically a remake, where this young girl, well, I guess I'm explaining both plots here, but a young girl is raped and killed, and the people that are responsible go to the family's house of the girl and they stay with them, and then the family finds out what they did and they kill them back. Basically, it's a rape and revenge movie. I'm pretty sure this is one of the first exploitation movies that did this. This is the movie that created the exploitation rape and revenge genre, from my understanding, even though it was an Ingmar Bergman movie, which I think that was based off of like a folk tale or something. But yeah, the content in this movie is graphic. If you have a history with anything related to the subject matter, I don't suggest you watch it, just in case it makes anything kind of come back up. I would hate for that to happen to anybody. But if it's something that you would be okay with watching, it's not something I want to recommend, but it's interesting. The way it's done is very interesting. It's definitely rough, which I think is part of the character, just because it feels a little bit more real or something. I'm not sure. The nasty people in the movie are weirdly not sympathetic, but they're interesting. you like kind of seeing them in the beginning kind of talk to themselves, like talk amongst themselves, because they have like some charisma and stuff. But once they get nasty, you turn on them, which you should, of course. But it's interesting that you feel decently about these people. At least I did, which maybe that says something about me. But I think that Wes Craven was trying to get you to feel something for them before they turn so dark. But yeah, in a sense, I guess I'm recommending it, with a long list of qualifiers to suggest maybe not watching it. But I have it, and I will probably watch it again at some point, but not for a while. Um, I will say I watched pretty much all the bonus features on this particular set, and I felt that they were super um, transformative. They put a little light in the picture for me. Um, they, because it's a rough movie, and sometimes it's nice to have somebody kind of explain what you just saw, and them talking about how it was pretty light on set and stuff made me feel a little better, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I might be rambling. Uh, but there's a lot of complicated feelings here, and I think that is important in and of itself, that it's not just gross. It's not just nasty. There's more going on there, and I think because of that, it's potentially worth a watch. I've never seen any of the other movies that this kind of spawned, like I Spit on Your Grave, or I believe The Candy Snatchers is similar to this, but I don't know very much about that one. I've heard that's pretty well done as well. There's other movies, but I've never seen any of those. I can't speak about their artistic qualities, but I have a feeling that I Spit on Your Grave is more disgusting than it is any kind of thought provoking, which I would say this one is pretty thought provoking. So I think I ended up giving this one a 3.5 stars. I was I was kind of torn between a 3 and a 3.5, but I mean, as you can tell by this sort of segment, I've had quite a bit to say about it, and it's put a lot of thoughts in my head. It's given me a lot to think about, and I find that important. I think that any movie that can challenge you and give you something to think about is a movie worth watching and a movie worth discussing. So I did give it a 3.5/7 out of 10, uh, and I think that's all I have to say for now. So let's get on to the next one. And we go from something dark to Trick or Treat. You got your Gene Simmons and your Ozzy, and they share total like 5 minutes of screen time. Yet they get front screen or front cover privileges because they're rock and rollers or whatever you want to call them. This movie was a pleasant surprise. I was really happy that I watched it. As you can see, it was 75 cents when I got it. I got it from a garage sale a long time ago, and I haven't watched it up until now. But it was a lot of fun. I It feels like a John Hughes movie, kinda, where it's sort of a kid that's getting bullied and stuff, and but he's a metalhead, which is fun because I mean I like the metal music, so it's fun seeing a character that's really big into the metal music, and he takes center stage, and yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this one. I really liked it though. I think I liked it so much because it was a pleasant surprise. But yeah, there's some fun creature stuff in there, just a little bit. There's you know, it, there's some backmasking which I love. if you're familiar with like the controversy in the 80s about these backmasked messages in rock songs telling the youth to kill or kill themselves or something like that, like, wow, uh, spooky, like, why would they want their fans to die? Then they wouldn't have fans anymore. Anyway, but yeah, but it's in this movie, and the messages are telling him, like, go nail the bullies that are bullying you. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna go do that. And then he gets a change of heart, and he's like, maybe I don't want to do that. But then the rocker that has made this record, who has died, he comes back to life kind of as a spooky ghost, and he tries to kill him and stuff. And it's like, ah, spooky, ah. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a really goofy movie. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but I'd recommend it. I think it's technically on Blu-ray, but it's like really hard to get. It's not put out by any like common people right now, like Arrow or Scream Factory or Vinegar Syndrome or Severin or those types of peeps. But I really hope that somebody puts it out again, because like I said, it's already kind of out. But I want somebody that will touch it up and make it look really nice. I want them to put it out, because I want to see this in HD. This was in I think it was in 4:3. I don't know if it was filmed in 4:3, but because I didn't see any pan and scan, but I did see a boom mic at one point, so that makes me believe that it was like cropped or something. Like they cropped the top and the bottom down or something. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And what did I give it? I think I gave it a 7 out of 10, of 3.5 stars or whatever. It was fun. I liked it. Last movie. Oh, this one, I don't know if it belongs on here, but I thought it'd be fun to show this box set because it's a little bit of a sneak peek to a video that I will be doing Monday. But yeah, it's this Al Adamson box set, and I watched the first. It's like a documentary about the man, the myth, the legend, and it was really cool because I didn't know anything about him, but I learned a lot about him, and apparently he was killed, and I didn't know that. But like, it's interesting that a guy that was known for making all these horror movies was living a horror movie or something like that. I don't know, but what do I want to say? It was a really good primer. I'm glad that they put this on here as like the first movie, because like I said, I went into it not knowing a whole lot about him. You'll see that in the unboxing if you watch it. But yeah, you go into it not knowing a whole lot about the man, but they tell you pretty much everything that I think you would need to know to sort of appreciate his schlocky kind of horror stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I just think that Severin did a really good job on the documentary. The way that they kind of string you along toward the end about his murder is really well done. So when you finally get the reveal, it's like, oh, like, it's rough. But yeah, I mean, everything up until then, it's basically about all of his movies and in the order that they were released and stuff, or in the order that they were made, I think. One or the two, I don't know. I'll have to watch them to get a little bit more context, but yeah. I also gave it a 7/3.5 stars. So, yeah, I mean, that about does it for, oh, let's get the family portrait together. I think that about does it for today. I mean, we talked about some movies, didn't we? There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movies that I have seen so far in October. No, 8, because of Invisible Man. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you stuck around for some of this. This is a very long video. I thought it would go long, and it did go long. So for those that are watching this part right now, I appreciate you wholeheartedly. And yeah, Be sure to like if you haven't already. Liking is good for the YouTube algorithm. And if you like me and you want my videos to do well, then liking the video is super nice of you. Be sure to comment. That's also good for the same reasons. Also, I just like talking to people in the comments. So like if you want to talk to me, comment something and we can have a little dialogue. Cuz I mean, the videos end but the conversation doesn't, you know. And yeah, subscribe maybe cuz I'll be making 3 more of these and maybe I'll keep going with it in the future. Who knows? Uh, but yeah, I mean, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and good night.